Okay, we're live. We're live. Being told we're live. Good morning, everybody. Either welcome to Media Savvy or welcome back to Media Savvy, depending on whether you've done courses with us before, or this may very well be the first time that you are jumping onto one of our courses and doing a little bit of learning with Media Savvy. And I do jump in a course. Today we're on week 1. We're starting a brand new course. We're going to be looking at developing skills for not only employment, but also personal fitness and well-being as well. Yeah, so potentially in terms of job opportunities, careers, even volunteering, skills that can be really helpful in those fields. But then I guess in a way they can overlap a little bit with some of the personal fitness and well-being stuff that we're going to be looking at. And of course, taking care of ourselves, is probably becoming more and more important as time goes on. Granted, we haven't quite got the sort of COVID restrictions and stuff like we did last year, where we really were left to our own devices quite a lot. But yeah, we've had nearly 2 years of probably not being as active as we would like to be, certainly probably not being as social as we'd like to be, and it's just starting to pick up and start to develop some skills to help us sort of push on now that hopefully lockdown's a thing of the past, and we're getting to a position where we're living with COVID a little bit sort of in a safer way, that's for sure. Okay then, guys, cool. So just in case this is the first course that you've done with us, or it might even just be the first one that you've done online. So with us being entirely based online at the minute, these sessions are always available after they've ran live as well. So if you were to, be free on a Monday morning, 10 o'clock-ish, and you wanted to sort of follow the link that I send out, you can watch along live like you may well be doing now. You could type something in the live chat if you want. We always encourage getting involved in the live chat. Any questions that you've got, even if you just want to pop in and say good morning, say hello, whatever it may well be. So the live chat is there. Of course, the session will run sort of 10 till 12-ish. And then after that, of course, we won't be live anymore. So if you click the link after that point, you'll be watching sort of not live, I guess, really. So if that's the case and you've got any questions or anything like that and you want to reach out, just get in touch with me through my email. So should be able to find my email. Bear with us 2 seconds. So I'm just watching along on the live chat on my phone. So under the YouTube video that you're looking at the minute, there should be like a little description box, almost like it might have a little drop down arrow, and then if you click that arrow, it of course brings up all the information about today's session as well. So my email is in there if you need it at any point, guys. Yeah, so any questions or anything, once the session has finished running live, if you need to get in touch with me, you don't need to wait till next Monday and jump on at 10 o'clock. Just drop me an email in between sessions and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can and help you out. While we're on then, this little description box below the video, we have a couple of little bits that I may as well just talk us through now, and then when we crack on, we really can crack on. So we have the first things that you'll notice in that description box is a survey link, which will take you straight to a form for you to fill in and leave a little bit of feedback on the session. We do need one of those doing for each session, but taking up is about 30 seconds to do, and it takes you where you need to be. You can put your answers in there, hit submit, and the answers come back to us. So you don't necessarily need to worry about downloading a file, filling it in, saving it, sending it back, or any of that. Yeah, so if you just click that link in the description where it says survey, put your answers in there, hit submit, that's all you've got to do. Yeah, so not even 30 seconds, guys. So yeah, if we can get one of those done for each video, that's great. There is a second link underneath that one for a fitness video. So for each session that we do at the end of the session, there will be a little fitness video for you to try out, or maybe just test yourself with a little bit. So of course we are always encouraging trying to get moving a little bit more if we can. Like I say, we've had a lot of time. Of course, everybody's been different, but for a lot of us, we've spent a lot of the last 18 months, 2 years, like I say, not moving about as much as we normally would. We are in probably the coldest, wettest time of the year. So getting out and about and using even just some of the sort of like the public footpaths and the countryside that we're lucky enough to have in the northeast, maybe that's a little bit difficult and not accessible for you right now either. Certainly some days over the last couple of weeks with the storms that we've had, where I've woke up with the intention of going out for a walk or something, and soon changed my mind and thought, right, okay, what else can I do to be active, to be moving, so I'm not sat around all day. And that's where kind of the idea of these videos came in as well. So like I say, there's one for each session. Each session's going to have a different fitness video, but that link in the description will take you straight to our YouTube playlist. Yeah, of all of our workouts. Yeah, so if you click that link, it'll take you to our YouTube workout playlist, and you can pick any video that you fancy. So, for example, today's video is just a nice little 20-minute stretching routine that I've put together to help us get moving again. Maybe for the first time in a year, 2 years, a decade, 2 decades, who knows how long it's been. Maybe we need to wake these muscles up before we really start working them and challenging them. Maybe we need to stretch to, relieve some tension and help our posture a little bit. Again, especially if we've spent, even for myself, like I say, for example, over the last couple of years, I've gone from working in the gym to now I spend more time sitting at the laptop. Yeah. So I need to think about what position am I in all day now, slightly sort of rounded shoulders, hunched over the laptop to type. So I need to stretch, and I need to reverse that, and I need to stretch out all those muscles that are getting held in the same position all day long. So again, it has been quite a big, significant change for a lot of people. And that may not be yourself. But again, no reason why we can't be looking to just get a little bit more active. And especially, like I say, when the weather's so unpredictable, it's handy to have some other ways of getting active, I guess, really some other resources. So yeah, if you were to get to the end of a session, say just like next week's session, for example, and you click the link and it's for an abs workout, it takes you straight to an abs workout video, and you're not really bothered about your core so much at the minute. You're not thinking about abs or anything like that. Maybe you would just like to do something that gets you out of breath a little bit more, or maybe you would like to come back to do the stretching video again. Yeah, so click that link in the description. It'll take you straight to our YouTube workout playlist, and you can just pick whatever video you are feeling that day, whenever it may well be. So definitely something in there for everybody. I always try and make sure that there's alternatives. So if you do find that an exercise gives you a little bit of pain in your knee or in your back or whatever it might be, I try and make sure that there's an alternative for everybody, really, or an alternative for each exercise if you need to make it a little bit harder or a little bit easier. Because of course we all have our own starting point. So it's handy to just be able to sort of be that flexible as well. So yeah, guys, each week we're trying to get moving. We're going to try and pick a different workout from the YouTube playlist. So yeah, enjoy. Let me know how you're getting on with those. Let me know if there's anything that you find is really too tough or really too easy. Drop me an email or pop it in the chat, and I'll make sure that we find something that's right for you. Because right now, indoors, body weight exercises that doesn't require any equipment, it's foolproof. The weather can't get in the way and stop you doing that. Even this time last year, COVID restrictions couldn't stop us being active in our own homes without needing access to any kit like dumbbells and kettlebells and stuff like that, treadmills. So all these videos are done just really based on body weight and using your own body against you. And I think that there was one video where I actually used a couple of bits and bobs from in the old cupboard to sort of simulate a little bit of fitness equipment as well. You know, like a tin of soup in each hand to do some bicep curls or some overhead press or whatever. You know, so we don't need a lot of equipment. You know, granted, gyms are open. This time last year they weren't. But again, the gym isn't necessarily for everybody. It can be a really intimidating environment to walk into, especially at the start of a fitness journey as well. And we'll talk about that a little bit more sort of as the course goes on. You know, sort of looking at, right, okay, if it's not going to be the gym, what can it be? And like I say, really sort of understanding that the gym doesn't necessarily appeal to everybody. There's other ways to get fit and to be active. You know, if you can find something that doesn't totally put you off, it doesn't need to feel like so much of a chore. Yeah, getting in from work and going to the gym every day might feel like a little bit of a chore, you know, but what about going for a walk with a dog? You know, that's still exercise. What about doing a little bit of housework? That's still exercise, and it's productive as well. You know, there's lots of ways to be active. It doesn't all have to be the gym. So again, we do have those videos on our YouTube channel as well. So make sure you use those. Like I say, each session will come with a different workout linked with it. But if you're not particularly feeling that workout on that day, just pick a different one, follow the link and pick a different one. Yeah. Okay, guys. So last couple of bits to do with this little description box, and then we'll move on and really get stuck into our session for the day. So there is a link to a Google Drive, and it's a supplementary learner info. So anything to do with safeguarding, learning safely online, in general, you know, what to do if you've got any concerns or anything like that. All of that is in there. So if you need any of that information, that's in the link. Of course, a copy of our learner handbook as well is in there. So if you need any of that, the link is in the description as well. And then the last thing to point out in that little description section is, of course, the links to our social media pages. You may already be following us on those to have found out about this course, but if you're not, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn to find out what courses we've got on right now, what's coming up, and anything else exciting to do with Media Savvy, because there's all sorts going on through at HQ at the minute, through at Savvy Towers. So stay tuned. A lot's coming over the next year or so. So yeah, guys, that is the little description box underneath the video. That's pretty much everything that we need to cover in terms of that sort of thing. So yeah, like I say, learning online, beauty of it is you can come back and revisit these sessions anytime you want, even if you have watched them live. If you want to come back and you know, in a couple of weeks time, maybe it's a month's time, you might want to come back and revisit this session for whatever reason. You will of course be able to use the same links to come back and do that. So by all means, save the link somewhere. Of course, it'll be in your emails anyway, but if you want to stick them on a Word document or something, just keep it nice and easy to find these videos again. Okay then, guys, cool. So that is, like I say, the little description box done underneath the video. Let's crack on then and have a look at what we're going to be covering over the next 10 weeks. So it's a 10-week course, roughly 2.5 months, which puts us, what we're going to be coming right up into summer, really, aren't we? You know, spring's just around the corner right now. So yeah, hopefully if you're watching this in June, hopefully the weather has picked up a little bit. Here's hoping anyway. So guys, what we're going to be looking at today. So today we're going to be just doing a little bit of a course overview, really. Looking at each unit, breaking down what we're going to be covering, looking at certainly sort of any paperwork or workbooks and stuff like that are involved as well, just so you know what's what with that. we're going to be, so breaking down each unit that we're going to be looking at. So we've got 4 main units, and we're going to be looking at participating in vocational tasters. So a little bit to do with exploring different vocations that are out there and that are available, including probably many that you might never have considered before or explored or even come across. And of course, how to best place ourselves in the direction, in a direction or a position that is going to suit us and play to our strengths, and sort of bearing our weaknesses in mind as well. Yeah, so looking at how we can determine not just what jobs are out there, but how suitable they may actually be for us as an individual as well. Because of course we all have different strengths and different weaknesses as well. We'll be looking at the use of materials in a practical activity. We'll be looking at the use of tools and equipment in a practical activity. And then we'll also be looking at developing practical skills and techniques as well. Yeah, so namely, the participating in vocational tasters, how to search for volunteer work and become familiar with the skills, knowledge, and personal qualities needed to perform different job roles there. Just sort of recap on what I said just a minute ago. So because we have 4 units, we have 4 workbooks. Yeah, we have 4 workbooks to complete over the duration of this course, which we'll have a look at in just a minute as well. All additional information for the following can be found in the description below the YouTube video. So that's that little link I was talking about to the Google Drive, where you can find out any additional info for additional paperwork, prevent or safer learning. Yeah, so don't forget that link is in the description box. Okay then, so first unit that we're going to be sort of covering and looking at is, of course, participating in vocational tasters. So just like I'm saying, the idea of exploring different areas, different fields, different industries, different vocations, like it says, in sort of the aim of getting more prolific at it, you know, exploring and browsing and just keeping our ear to the ground and seeing what positions are out there. So the first place to start with that really is, once you've identified a vocational area, you know, for example, it may well be it might be health and fitness, for example, just nice and easy while we're on the subject. It could be in the field of health and well-being, health and fitness. But then there's different job roles in that vocational area, you know. Even a gym will have probably a receptionist, maintenance, caretakers, cleaners, maybe personal trainers, maybe it's just gym staff, you know, in general, where, you know, your job might be a little bit of a mix of personal training and handiwork and upkeep of machines and stuff like that. Then you've of course got the people who make and manufacture machines and sort of supply them, that come out and maintain them when there's problems with them. It may well be, you know, a fitness class instructor. Rather than working directly on the gym floor, you might want to be like a class instructor for group fitness. And again, there's different job roles within that: spin instructor, aqua aerobics, Zumba, whatever it may well be. There's so many different job roles just in that one vocational area alone. So you might have either identified whether a vocational area or a field is for you or isn't for you. And you may well have done that without sort of exploring some of the other job roles that may well be available, you know. For example, if you're a receptionist in a gym and you don't like it, it doesn't necessarily mean that the health and well-being sort of vocation isn't for you. It's just there might be other areas that are better suited to you, or that you just get a lot more out of as well. That was a new COVID test coming through the door. Right, guys. So, yeah. So, exploring these different roles in different vocational areas, because, of course, the same goes for any vocation you can name. You know, which we'll dive into a little bit more as we're working through today's session. The skills, personal qualities, and knowledge that is needed for different jobs as well. Again, coming back to that sort of health and well-being sort of side of things, to be a personal trainer requires different skills, qualities, knowledge than it does to be a group exercise instructor, or the gym manager, or a shift leader, or whatever it may well be. So again, some might be sort of more up your street than others. You might well identify something where you think to yourself, okay, that's something that I'd like to move into, but I don't feel as though I'm great at these things, so I'm going to work on these because this is something I would really like to pursue. We are going to be looking at the website doit.org, and we're going to just spend a bit of time and get familiar with that website, and hopefully sign up for some local volunteering if possible. But even then, even if we just use it to end up exploring these different vocational areas as well, what might we be able to find job-wise that we've never come across before? It might just give you an indication, right? Okay, if I was going to apply for that, I might need to go and get this qualification first. So even just exploring without necessarily applying can help fill in the blanks of where you want to go and what you need to do to get there, really. So yeah, we'll be getting a look at that website because it's such a handy tool, especially when it comes to exploring the volunteering options. We'll be looking at health and safety issues, risk assessments, and how to minimize risk. Yeah, and to keep us safe in the workplace, and of course the fitness environment as well. If we were, for example, working in that field, of course, we need to know how that applies to a fitness environment as well. You're going to come across different risks in an office than you will in a gym or in an exercise space. We will be encouraging a little bit of self-reflection to analyze your own strengths and weaknesses. Like we say, we all have different strengths. We all have different weaknesses. And it's a really big thing in being open with ourselves and being honest with ourselves and trying to sort of analyze what are we good at, what are we not so good at, what might we need to improve for certain job roles or volunteer roles or whatever it might well be. What is such a strength that it's something that you could probably lean into really strongly, or something you could use right now while you're working on, rounding yourself a little bit and trying to work on those weaknesses a little bit, if that's what you're deciding to do. So yeah, in order to do that, we have to, of course, sit back and think, what am I actually good at? What am I not so good at? And that is a skill in itself. That reflection is an important skill. So we'll be spending a little bit of time thinking about that, and you may already be thinking, asking yourself those questions. What do I feel that I'm good at? What do I feel that I'm not so good at? Where would I like to improve? So yeah, I feel like that's an important step along the way. Positives and negatives for certain job roles as well. Yeah. So not only how suitable are you for the job, how suitable is the job for you? What's positive about it? What's negative about it? It might be good pay. It might be unsociable working hours. It might be, something that you've had your eye on doing for a while, but the job might just be too far that you can't quite travel there or commute there every day. So just because you are suited to a role and it might, fit well with your strengths and weaknesses, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to apply to it. So there's other things that, of course, you're going to want to consider along the way. Like I say, it might be travel, it might be cost, it might be other perks. Do you get extra holidays? Do you get less holidays? There are some jobs, where you can only take holidays at certain times of the year. So, maybe you've got kids and other responsibilities where certain shifts are going to get in the way. So again, that's always something to consider as well when we're exploring these different options and looking at where we might go with it. So positive and negatives for individual job roles, and which is your suited job position, and why really, you know, what do you feel as though you're suited to, and why do you think that? And again, that's not to challenge that belief at all. I don't feel as though anybody really can know what suits you as much as you do. But it's just for you to get an idea in your own head. What is my suited job position? Why? What makes me so good at that, or would make me so good at that? What other jobs require the same skill? You know, maybe you're really, really good with people. You know, maybe your suited job position might be something in customer service where you're working with the public and helping queries and problems and stuff like that. You know, so think about other skills that brings. Like I say, patience. Okay, so, you know, what other jobs require a lot of patience? Because you've obviously got it, you know. Good customer service skills, good social skills, you know. What other jobs require those? Because those are things that you may be good at. If identified in like an ideal job position as well. So lots to think about there in terms of those vocational testers, and using this doit.org website to hopefully, like I say, ideally explore what's going on in the local area around us. But, you know, maybe you've got a particular field in mind that you would like to explore. You know, you might want to work in a hairdresser or salon or whatever it may well be, and you might just find that there's not really any availability near you right now. But you might, you know, want to look a bit further afield just to see what job roles are available in that vocation. Yeah. So again, even if we just use it for a little bit of exploring, and a little bit of testing, really. Okay then. So that's unit 1. That will be workbook 1. Like I say, participating in vocational testers. So that comes with its own workbook, which we're actually going to look at the end of today's session. I'll give you workbooks as they're needed, rather than giving you all 4 right now and say keep them safe. Just making sure that you have each workbook as we need it, really. So again, if you haven't got your workbook, if you can't spy it in the description video, then let me know and I'll email it across to you so you've got it. When it comes to the workbooks, we'll cover them a little bit more at the end, but if you want to fill them in and send them back, then by all means do. If you want to fill them in and hold on to them at the end of the course and send them all at once, that's fine as well. Yeah. Okay, guys, cool. Yeah, so that is unit 1. Unit 2 is the use of materials in a practical activity. So how can we use materials in a practical activity to help us stay more organized, in control, on top of things, streamline, run smoothly, all of that sort of thing. And these materials can be quite helpful. So in this unit, you're going to plan and design 5 to 10 detailed circuit training cards. Yeah. Now there are a lot of different ways you can do these different these training cards. This is just an example on the right hand side. So just before we really jump into that, if you've never done circuit training before, maybe you've never come across circuit training before, it is usually several exercises done pretty much back to back. So a circuit may be, say, five exercises all laid out in different spaces, and you'll do, you know, press ups there, and then you'll move over there to do sit ups, and then you'll go over there to do kettlebell swings, and you'll come back over here to do tuck jumps or whatever it might be, star jumps, whatever it might be. And there's lots of benefits to circuit training, actually, and we'll get into them a little bit more when we hit this unit. But of course, if you do all your exercises one after another, then you're not really stopping and let your heart rate come down, so you're not recovering. So your heart rate stays up, your body's working harder, you're going to burn more calories. Yeah, and you can actually if your goal is to stimulate muscle and grow muscle rather than lose body fat, you can do the same as well. You imagine going into a gym and doing 10 of them, then you sit for 5 minutes, then you do another 10 of them, and then you sit for 5 minutes, and then you do another 10. You know, it can take a really long time, not just one exercise. 3 sets of one exercise is taking you 15 minutes there. You know, you've got 5, 6 exercises to do. You're there an hour and a half. Whereas you do these followed by press-ups, followed by squats, followed by sit-ups, and you've worked 4 or 5 different muscle groups potentially in the time that you would normally just sit in between your sets. Yeah. So again, stimulating muscle or trying to work harder to burn calories. Circuit training, you know, it's got benefit to both. The only real time I would say there's not much benefit to circuit training is when you're trying to work for strength, because of course you need to be lifting heavy things not very many times, and you need lots of rest after it in order to make sure that you're fresh to go for your next lift. If you're trying to burn calories, you don't have to be fresh every single set. If you're trying to stimulate muscle, you don't necessarily have to be fresh every single set as well. So again, cut down some of that rest time. Do some of your exercises together as like a circuit, and you can get so much more out of your time. You know, potentially, you know, if you did the level 1 course where we looked at barriers to exercise, time is one of the most common things that I've come across. People running out of time to exercise, when really you can do a 20-minute circuit, and that's all the exercise you really need to do. It doesn't have to be an hour and a half in the gym. So with that said, when it comes to circuit training, what are these cards? What are they used for? How are they helpful? And why are we making our own, really? So these cards are pretty much sort of like cue cards, really, for when you get to each station or whatever it may well be, where you've got your next exercise to do. You know, the rest time in circuits typically isn't very long. Like I say, we want to keep our heart rate elevated. So really, you might only have 10 seconds to move from one station to the next. You don't want to get to the next station, look down, and all you see is 2 dumbbells, and you're like, what on earth was I meant to do with these? I can't remember. The instructor told us 10 minutes ago all these different exercises, and I can't remember this one. So that's where stuff like this is really, really helpful. So we've got a little description card, really. So it tells you the name of the exercise. It may even tell you what number in the circuit you're in. There, yeah. So this number 1, this is the first card. This is the first exercise in this circuit. And again, that in itself could be quite helpful, because if you've gone from, you know, you were on number 1 and you move to what you think is the next station, and you look down and it says number 3, you know, you've missed one somewhere. So you can look around, where's number 2 at? What have I missed? Yeah. We've got the name of the exercise as well, which I think is really helpful, not just in coming into the circuit and being able to do what's being asked of you, but it's also really helpful in terms of just growing your exercise library, really, your exercise database. The amount of exercises you've got in your repertoire or in your bag to sort of go to and use. There's been lots of clients over the years that I've seen that have done exercises for the first time in a boot camp or a circuit training or something like that. That's them doing it for the first time, and they've got the instructor there. You can keep them right, you can give them some pointers, but then, you know, they might look online, they might be looking at other training plans for when they're coming in training by themselves, or you might have written a training plan out for them. You know, you write them down, standing military press. If they're not saying these cards every week in training, they're not going to know what a standing military press is. But if you've got circuit cards every week and they come along and every time they're doing this, they know it's a standing military press, then you could say to them, or they might come in and try it by themselves. You know, it might be an exercise that they come in and try by themselves. So it's just getting them, or in this case yourself, more sort of it's more experience under your belt, I guess, you know, getting used to what exercises are called, what equipment do they use, which is over on the left-hand side here. So we can see which muscles we use is highlighted as well. So we know it's the deltoids and the triceps. Yeah, so the deltoids, so the shoulders, and the triceps. Yeah, so we know that those are the main muscles getting worked. We can see at the bottom, the equipment that we're using is dumbbells. So again, that might say, you know, no equipment or body weight or kettlebells or skipping rope or whatever it might well be. And there's even on these a little description. Yeah, so there's a little sort of not description, a little picture, sorry, an illustration that gives you at least a rough idea of what the exercise should look like. And then we've got the full description in writing on the right hand side as well. So standing with your feet shoulder width apart, take a dumbbell in each hand, raise the dumbbells to head height, the elbows out and about 90 degrees. This will be your starting position. The lifter then raises the dumbbells overhead by pressing the palms of the hands against the underside of the dumbbells and lowering them to the starting position. Yeah, so it's talking you through that movement. Safety tips as well. Excellent little feature to put on your cards as well. Safety tips. So ensure to choose a weight that you're comfortable with in order to maintain correct form and minimize risk of injury, especially to the back. So if you start trying to do this heavy overhead push and it's too heavy, you're going to be leaning back, you're going to put strain on your back, maybe even strain on your neck as well. And you might actually pick up an injury, which is the opposite of why we're exercising. You know, we want to hopefully feel better when we're moving, not worse. You know, we don't want to be picking up injuries. So it's not always about lifting as heavy as we can. Again, think about the circuit might well be for time. You know, you might be, okay, I can do this weight when I'm doing just 10 of them. In a circuit, you might be doing it for a minute. You might be doing 30, 40. You know, you don't want the same weight that you pick up for doing 10 with. You want them a little bit lighter. You want to be able to do more reps and you want to be able to keep going. So yeah, not just this exercise, all exercises, make sure that you pick a weight that is going to let you stick with good form. Yeah, and if you start to feel your form suffer and get compromised, then of course look to reduce that weight. Just because you've managed one set doesn't necessarily mean you're going to manage the next. So always be thinking about what weight you're using, and of course it's about good form and feeling a muscle work. Yeah, it's not this no pain no gain idea. You know, not all pain is good. A lot of the time pain is indicated to stop what it is that you're doing. Discomfort is something totally different, but pain, I always say, you know, put it down and find a different exercise. There's always ways to work around it. You don't need to be pushing through in actual, genuine physical pain. Okay, guys. So yeah, you will be designing your own cards and putting them together. So 5 to 10, obviously 5 to 10 different exercises, which you can start sort of planning in your workbook when we get to that point as well. And then you'll be able to actually do your circuit training cards. We've had learners in the past that have done their circuit training cards and made them stuff they can do at home, you know. So when they go for a walk, the weather's terrible, they think, do you know what, I'm going to do a circuit. Just lay out 5 cards, and then again, you know exactly what you're doing. You're not getting halfway through and thinking, right, what exercise should I do next? It just gives you a little bit of a plan to follow as well. So it could be a circuit that you plan on actually using for yourself. Now, again, bringing in the exploring different vocational areas. If you were to look to step into the health and wellbeing area as a job or a career, again, these resources go even further in the sense that having been an instructor where there's 20 people in the room, 20 people that are all sort of, you know, maybe meeting up with each other for the first time that week, having a little bit of a catch up. When you're telling everybody what 20 exercises they're doing for the day, people are going to forget some of them. You know, it's only natural. So if you haven't got circuit cards and you say, right, guys, go, and you set everybody off, you might have 3 or 4 people all at the same time going, what was this one again? What was that one again? And by the time you've been around everybody and sort of corrected them and given them a little bit of help and a little bit of guidance, you know, the time has moved on and they're on to the next thing. And then, so what was this one? I was too busy trying to figure out this one. I couldn't keep an eye on the person in front to see what they were doing, you know? So again, it helps the class run a lot more smoothly. it actually takes some of that pressure off you in terms of running the session, because the cards will run a lot of the session, leaving you free to think about people's form, give a little bit of motivation or encouragement to somebody, instead of looking around saying 5 people that if you don't get to them immediately, they're going to hurt themselves or at risk of hurting themselves, So again, these are helpful when we're training by ourselves, when we're training with others, but when we are training others in a professional capacity, again, their sort of their value only goes up, in my opinion. I used to regularly have 20 or 30 of these in my bag at any given time, in case I needed to just conjure a circuit out of nowhere as well. That was always quite handy. There would be certain clients where like they would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, do you mind if I bring a mate down with us to train with us?" And then like, "Oh, I don't know whether they're going to make it or not." And then yes, they turn up with their mate, and you might be like, "Right, okay, we're going to just do a little circuit today or something like this." So again, the amount of times I used them when I wasn't expecting to use them as well, is a lot higher than I'd have thought. So yeah, a lot of value to something that is literally just it's a practical tool, really, isn't it? It's a practical, it's almost like a little prop to keep you, just to, like I say, keep running everything on track. So yeah, we'll be doing our own ones of those. So again, start considering which exercises you'd like to do, and by all means, in the meantime, ask me any questions if you're not sure anything about certain exercises or anything. So yeah, guys, that is Unit 2. Unit 3 is the use of tools and equipment in a practical activity. So we've looked at materials in a practical activity and in delivering a training session or a circuit. Yeah, the way that we can use our circuit cards and those materials, and of course tools and equipment as well. Yeah, so this unit's going to look at fitness equipment that's used in a circuit training class, how it can be used, and why it's suitable for the class as well. Yeah, there is some equipment that doesn't work very well in a circuit training class or in circuits in general. And of course, like we say, safety precautions. Yeah, so safety precautions associated with different equipment, and especially how to look after and maintain different pieces of equipment as well. Of course, if you're in a shared environment like the gym, you can pretty much bank on the fact that just because it was fine last time you used it, other people have used it since. We can't just jump on a piece of equipment and assume that it's ready to go. It pays to have a quick little check over a lot of our equipment before we start using it. So we'll get into that a little bit more, not only how we can use certain pieces of equipment, but also the safety sort of considerations that we need to bear in mind when it comes to a practical activity as well. So like I say, circuit training in general, you'll see a lot of stuff like dumbbells, kettlebells, skipping ropes, maybe even boxing gloves and pads and stuff like that, cones, rope ladders, battle ropes, that sort of stuff, boxes to like jump up onto. You won't necessarily see many treadmills, for example, Stairmaster. Depending on the environment that you're in, you're probably not going to see many resistance machines, where you jump on, pick your weight in the machine, you just push the handles out in front, that sort of thing. You don't see very much of that gets used in the training class. So we'll have a little look at why as well, I guess, as we get that little bit closer. Let's see how we look at why. Okay, then the last unit we're going to be looking at is going to be developing practical skills and techniques. I was just trying to keep an eye on the chat just in case anybody's popping anything in there. Okay, so the unit looks at how a gym instructor should conduct themselves in terms of professionalism, safety and sort of safeguarding, Certainly in terms of clients' data or gym members' personal data and information, all of that sort of thing, as well as, you know, personal appearance, hygiene, that sort of thing, you know. So how a gym instructor should conduct themselves, which again might help you actually sort through a couple of gyms in your local area, and you know, you might go in for induction and you might think, oh, that doesn't really match up with what I'm expecting from a gym instructor, or how I know a gym instructor should behave. I'm not going to join this gym. I'm going to go somewhere else where I feel comfortable going and asking for help, or I feel welcomed, or I don't feel judged, or whatever it may well be. So how a gym instructor should conduct themselves, an induction process as well, what to expect when it comes to receiving or delivering an induction process as well. So in terms of getting somebody used to the gym or getting yourself used to the gym, again, it can help you in your own fitness journey. If we run through what you'd expect in an induction, which really, you know, you should be getting a good look around, talking through the sort of like the main features of the gym, where sort of each sort of section is, where's the weights, where's the body weight section. They might, of course, show you where showers are, toilets are, tell you how to book into classes and stuff like that. Ultimately, of course, you should feel welcomed, and you should feel comfortable approaching that person again in the future. I used to sign myself up to so many inductions, even when I didn't need to. The gym used to see it as doing them a favor because, you know, they had somebody to do their inductions for them. But for me, it was a chance to start building a rapport with a client as well. You can start to build that relationship. So when they have a question, when they look at the machine and go, I don't really know how that works, I wanted me to be the person that they came and asked. First of all, I wanted them to just know that there was somebody that they could ask. And then I thought, you know what, if they're going to ask somebody, it might as well be me. It's the chance to, like I say, build that relationship and maybe take on some new clients as well. So again, the induction process can make or break the experience for somebody. It can either sign somebody up to the gym, or it can put them off going into another gym for another year, you know, potentially forever. So what to expect, and then of course when you go for an induction, you can have an idea, does it live up to expectations? Again, I've seen inductions done in gyms where they'll literally step you onto the gym floor and just go, there's changing rooms, here's the gym, and then they'll walk back behind and sit behind the reception desk. And I'm like, if that was me, I wouldn't then feel comfortable going to that person and asking for help. You know, I was here for an induction and you literally sort of acted like you couldn't be bothered with that. So now I'm going to come and ask you for additional help. You know, I'm not expecting a nice sort of welcoming reply, so somebody won't. And if somebody's not comfortable asking questions, they're not going to get the most out of their time. They're not getting the most out of their time. They're more likely to sort of drop off and put their fitness journey on hold as well, which is, as a gym instructor, that shouldn't be anything that you want to see. You know, as a gym instructor, for me, client or not, it was always amazing to see people making progress, you know, and moving in the right direction. So induction process is a big, big part of either you coming into a new environment or you bringing somebody into a new environment. And again, like I say, it can really, really set the tone for that person's experience. So we'll be looking a little bit more in depth in the sort of a proper induction. What sort of stuff would you expect when we get around to that unit again? We'll be looking at fitness assessments and why they are used. So, of course, if you are putting time and effort into the gym, walking, exercising at home, dieting, even just in general, you would like to know that you're making progress in the areas that you're interested in making progress. So, in order to determine our start point, it's handy to do a fitness assessment. See where you are right now, and it can give you an idea of maybe the areas that you might need to work on first. You know, or it might just sort of reaffirm, right, okay, I've got the right sort of plan in mind. This says that I'm, a little bit heavy for my height. My aim is to lose a little bit of weight. There's no sometimes no surprises on a fitness assessment. It's just getting physical data that you can always look back and say, well, when I started, this was where I was at, and now I'm here. Yeah. So that's the fitness assessment, and a Part Q as well. So you may have signed a Part Q before, you may have filled in a Part Q before. If you've been a member of a gym before, you probably have. So a Part Q is a physical activity readiness questionnaire. So it's pretty much usually a lot of yes or no answers and some extra bits, elaborate a little bit, mention any medications, history of surgeries or injuries or whatever it may well be. And it's pretty much just declaring, it's assessing and then declaring whether you are fit to begin exercising and to begin this fitness journey. Because as handy as exercise is, both in terms of physical and mental health, for 99% of us, there is, of course, the small percentage of us out there who might be in a position right there and then where beginning to exercise isn't the best thing for them. They may, for example, might have had an operation not so long ago, or a heart attack or whatever, and the doctor would advise, look, don't do too much right now. So again, your Part Q is pretty much just assessing and declaring whether you're fit enough to fit and healthy enough to become more active and to start this more active lifestyle. And worst case scenario, you probably, if you answer, what they're not looking for a couple of the answers, you might just have to go back to your GP and get clearance to begin exercising, which isn't a bad thing at all. It can actually help put fitness professionals and doctors and medical teams into contact. I had one lady came in once who wanted to join the gym and sign up for personal training. I got her to do a Part Q, and it turned out that she had chronic fatigue. And straight away, I was like, look, you need to go to your doctor and get clearance before we can sign you up. And at the same time, you need to know your limits as well, really. So I actually got in touch with the doctor and was speaking to the doctor and finding out a little bit more about chronic fatigue and what was okay to be doing and what wasn't okay to be doing, really. So again, that just came about through a Part Q. Otherwise it would have been, right, do you feel fit to exercise? Yeah, okay, see you later. And then probably you've done too much and made yourself feel worse. So Part Q is really, really important when we're starting off our new fitness journey. Okay, then, so kind of in a similar vein as a fitness assessment, we're going to be looking at fitness testing as well. So fitness assessment, your assessment may well determine that, in a minute, I only did 5 push-ups, so my muscular endurance isn't very good. Once I've done a few, they really start to tire out and I really start to struggle. So that might have come back on your fitness assessment. Not many press-ups in a minute, would like to improve. So when it comes to fitness testing, you want to be testing your fitness to make sure that the right thing is improving. Yeah. If you're trying to work on improving your muscular endurance, you don't want to do a flexibility test, because they're not going to give you relevant information. If I want to know how aerobically fit I am, I might do a preset distance and try and beat my time from last time, or I might just see how long can I run at this speed before I need to stop. Yeah, that would let me know, is my aerobic endurance getting better or is it not? Yeah. If I was trying to get better at running and long distance running, and I was in the gym just lifting heavy weights and putting them down, again, that's not going to give me any indication. Am I progressing in the ways that I'd like to be, or am I not? Because again, a lot of us use exercise to improve our quality of life throughout the rest of the day as well. So like I say, you might, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your time and your effort, really. So fitness testing is the way to do that, be it checking our body composition to see if we've lost a little bit of fat, or water even. Is it 1 rep max testing to see what is the heaviest thing we can pick up, albeit only once. So we want to make sure that we're testing our fitness accurately and in the relevant ways, and of course some of the equipment as well that we can use to do that testing as well, because of course numbers are really hard to argue with. There's always the element of human error as well, so again, we need that data. We need to know the scales say you are this much today, next time has it gone up or has it gone down? So yeah, fitness testing, big thing, and making sure that we're getting the most out of our time and efforts and are progressing it in the ways that we would like to. Again, we'll be looking at working with clients, so that kind of comes back around again to protecting their personal information. Again, a little bit of hygiene, sort of being there on time and when you said you were going to be as well. Personal space, touching clients, even if it's just to spot them, or if you're doing circumference measurements with your tape measure or whatever, let them know what it is that you're doing before you even start, so they've got the heads up, nothing surprises them, nothing feels sort of out of order or unnecessary. Which actually links in with that bottom bullet point as well, safe working practices, ways to make sure that you keep you and your client safe as well, be that your park queues, not just to keep the client safe, but if anything happens and the clients chose not to disclose it on their park queue, it covers you as a gym, as a fitness professional. They didn't write down that they had a bad knee or had surgery 6 weeks ago or whatever. They didn't declare that. Again, that's just one way of keeping yourself safe. If you are doing fitness measuring and stuff like that, skin fold calipers on people's bodies, do it somewhere private but not isolated, just to protect yourself from the claims and accusations and stuff like that. So lots to think about when it comes to actually being the instructor or being the PT. Lots to think about as well. I think especially including, like I say, them safe working practices, and helping clients feel relaxed as well, helping them sort of feel comfortable around you, feel comfortable in your presence, especially as you are just starting out and you're starting to grow that relationship and grow that sort of connection a little bit. Those first couple of meetings can really set the tone for that again as well. So lots to think about, guys, and lots of good units to dive into as we're working through this course. Okay, so that is our course overview. So we have participating in vocational tasters, use of materials in a practical activity, use of tools and equipment in a practical activity, and developing practical skills and techniques as well. Yeah. So those are our 4 units that we're going to be looking at over the next 9 weeks now. So as mentioned at the bottom of this slide, what we're going to cover today: how to search for volunteer work and become familiar with the skills, knowledge, and personal qualities needed to perform different job roles. So these different vocational areas, and these are just some examples that we've got on the screen here. You may well be able to think of some more. These vocational areas, like I say, have many different jobs within them. We've got hairdressing, where you're going to have stylists, receptionists. You're going to have people who probably do the hair wash and blow dry. You're going to really have people who maintain the salon and keep the floors clear and stuff like that, and maybe even welcome people as they come in and that sort of thing. You may have people that it might be hairdressing, but you might specifically want to do barbering. Again, it's a different sort of area. It's a different job within that area as well. IT, Of course, you have like technicians and people who come out and fix your computers. You have people who design programs and software. You know, I guess it's still kind of IT. There's people out there that are designing video games for a living, testing and playing video games for a living. You know, so many different jobs. Digital media. You know, is it to do with sort of managing social media? Is it to do with putting content out there, designing, developing, creating content, that sort of thing? Again, different jobs. And the same in all of these different vocational areas, guys. We could be here all day. Business, childcare, social care, retail and customer service, health and fitness, engineering and manufacturing. Again, there's just so many different jobs within those areas. You know, I used to work in a small factory. I would say there was never any more than 20 of us on shift at a time. And it was painting and supplying car parts for interiors, dashboards and vents and door panels and all of that sort of thing. Now, in there alone, there was people to drive the forklift and bring the stuff in and out of the warehouse. There was then the people that brought the stuff from the warehouse onto the line where everything was getting done. You would have people stood on the line blowing it off with like an air gun to make sure that when they got painted, they weren't painting over dust and muck and stuff like that, so they get blasted off with the air gun. You know, then there would be people in charge of actually doing the spray painting. There was people in charge of mixing the paint for the spray painters. There was people in charge of taking the stuff off at the other end and counting them. Then there was people in charge of putting that into boxes and sending them out. There was another person comes and takes the boxes and ships them. And that was in a small factory where, like I say, there was no more than 20 on shift at a time. You know, what's that? That's probably at least 10 different jobs there in one factory, in one vocational area. You know? So, and again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There was other jobs, people who, you know, would, if the bits had been painted and there had been some bits left on the piece, you know, it was other people's job to sand them down, sand the paint off, and we'll start again. We'll do it again next time. That was a job, you know. So many different jobs. Again, health and fitness. You know, even across the years, I've probably done a handful of different jobs, from PT to gym and class instructor, you know, to sort of gym staff where I'm just sort of watching the gym and monitoring the gym, you know, so many different things within that field. Again, so the best place to start with it really is to look at the DoIt.life website that we mentioned at the start of today's session. If we get time at the end, we'll have a quick look at that. We will be looking at that in more depth next week, where I will be able to share my screen and just sort of show you around the website, get you to grips with it a little bit more. But in the meantime, by all means, do go check it out. The name's on the slide at the end of the session as well, so it'll be there for you to come back to. But yeah, by all means, do check it out, guys. And just look at some of the different jobs that are positions that are there, the job roles, and think about what vocational area might they be in, you know, or vice versa. Look at a vocational area that interests you and look at the many different jobs that you can actually do within that vocation. So yeah, lots and lots of sort of opportunities out there. You know, and I remember when I was growing up, my dad once said to us, look, if you think of something out there that needs doing, you can guarantee it's a job. And it's true, you know, even the stuff that we don't necessarily think about, you know, when people say jobs and work to you, you may have 20, 30 occupations, positions that spring to the top of your mind as, you know, mainstream positions that you feel like a lot of people do. But like I say, there's so much goes on behind the scenes that you don't see if you're not involved in those areas. There are jobs out there that, you know, I wouldn't have believed existed if I hadn't seen them and come across them before. So yeah, definitely start getting the grips with that website. That's doit.life. In fact, no, it's not. It's doit.org. It's changed. And there is there's a little hyphen in there as well. So it's do-it.org. So I'll chance to explore that over the next week or so. Right, okay, so spinning on. So like we've just mentioned, jobs within each vocational area, a couple of different examples there: hairdressing, stylist, shampooist, business, human resources, finance, business manager, retail manager, personal shopper, customer assistant, whatever it might be, stockroom manager, stockroom worker, IT, software developer, project manager, childcare, nursery teacher, or a nurse. Health and fitness, we've mentioned, there's so many, social care worker, or an occupational therapist, engineering and manufacturing, again, structural engineer, mechanical engineer. So different avenues, different routes that you could go down. You might want to be in childcare, but the thought of being a nurse or a nursery teacher really puts you off. There's other jobs where you can work with kids. It doesn't necessarily have to be being a nursery teacher. So have a little think there, 2 minutes, guys. I'm just going to give you a minute or two to have a think. See if you can think of any other jobs within any other vocational areas. We'll just moving me COVID test so the dog doesn't eat them. Right, guys. So yeah, maybe just had a little bit of a chance to think about some different vocational areas there, or some different jobs within some of these vocational areas. Like I say, no worries if not. I'm sure over the next week or two, you may well come across some different jobs within those areas that you've not considered before. Okay, cool. So when it comes to finding job roles that are suitable for us, of course, like I say, we have different skills and different qualities, different attributes really that help us, or maybe make us more suitable to certain jobs than others. So we've actually got a little crossword to do here. So I'm just going to give you 5 minutes or so. I'll see how many of these we can get filled in. So our across clues, number 3 across, over time you will become more what within your job. Yeah. Number 7, something that you need to be to achieve your goal. 8, something that you need to be at all times. Number 9, a quality that helps you keep dedicated. And 10, this skill will make your job easier and more controlled. And then the down clues, something you need to be when being told something confidential. Second one is something that is expected towards your patients or clients. 4, being something towards people will help them from being worried when in your care. 5 is something that you need to be able, to work well with others. And number 6, this will help you get along with other people by being blank. Yeah, so I believe we've got 10 clues there. If you're not sure, by all means have a guess. I say, even if you don't necessarily do it in crossword form, I know it's quite difficult to do on a computer screen. So even if you just have a guess at some of these answers, yeah, we'll give it 5 minutes or so, and then we will then we'll spin on. So I'll give you just a few minutes, and I'm just going to double check the old chat, make sure there's nobody waiting on any answers or anything. Okay, guys, cool. So yeah, we'll give it a few minutes, see how many of these we can even have a guess at. Yeah, so things that may well be personal skills or attributes that can help us in the workplace or may help us in the workplace. While you guys are on with that, I'm just going to get our workbook ready in the background for us to have a little look at the end of the session. Okay, cool. Okay then, guys, cool. So let's get a look at some of these answers then. Okay, so I'll see if I can make that a little bit bigger actually. Can I make it bigger? There we go. Okay, guys, so the skills and qualities. So three across, over time, you will become more confident within your job. Yeah, you've been doing it for a little while. You know, you've done it over and over. You become more confident in your abilities to do it. I have never doubted myself as a personal trainer as much as I did the first day I ever walked into the gym with my qualification and said, right, okay, do you want to be one of my clients, please? And, you know, the more you do it, the more confident you get because you prove to yourself that you can do it. Number 7, something that you need to be to achieve your goal. So 7 across is committed. Of course, you need to be committed to achieve your goal. It's not all necessarily about motivation. Motivation will come and go. If you truly want to get where you need to be or want to be, you know, you have to be committed and, you know, even do it on the days where you don't necessarily feel up to it. So staying committed and really staying sort of dedicated, really. 8, something that you need to be at all times in your job is, of course, professional. Be professional. You're representing, you know, potentially a company, potentially yourself. I mean, you're always representing yourself, aren't you? But maybe again, it's in a position where you're working for yourself or working for a friend or whatever it may well be. Of course, we need to be professional and remember that we're there to do a job, really. Which again, being professional, that comes down to stuff like being there on time, you know, being dressed properly, in health and well-being. Like I say, making sure that you're not sharing individuals' information or, you know, progress pictures and stuff like that, especially without their consent. Number 9, a quality that helps keep you dedicated. So it helps keep you dedicated is to be motivated. Yeah, motivation helps keep you dedicated. Like I say, motivation is the sort of drive to do the thing. Motivation isn't always there, which is where being committed and being dedicated comes in, but being motivated certainly helps. Number 10, this skill will make your job easier and more controlled. Number 10 is organization. Organization is a massive one, especially in terms of making your job easier and more controlled. Like I say, things like I mentioned earlier on, where I would always have a load of circuit cards on me. So if somebody said, oh, look, Rob, we've got an extra 1 or 2 people for circuits tonight than we were expecting, I could just add an extra card or 2 I wasn't then panicking and going, oh, I've got to add 2 more exercises. What exercises fit with all of these? What have I got space for? It was just easy to say, right, okay, we'll put these 2 exercises in as well. Yeah, organization. If a client was to come to me and say, Rob, I've weighed myself today and I'm 70 kilograms. Can you tell us what I was in June? You need to know where those numbers are. You need to be able to, be organized and provide those. Like I say, it makes your job easier and more controlled. And it goes a really long way to keeping you on track, keeping you focused, and helping you be and maintain that professionalism along the way as well. So organization goes a really long way. Might be in terms of just lists. What do you need to do? What's your jobs for the day? Again, when I used to get into the gym and I used to take over from one of the other lads, they'd be like, right, Rob, this machine's not working. This needs doing, that needs doing. And I'll just write it down and just tick it off as I went, rather than do the first job and then stand there and go, what else needed doing? Can't remember. Yeah. So being organized definitely helps make things easier and more controlled. All right, guys. So these other set of clues. Something you need to be when being told something confidential. Yeah. And of course, one down, we can see on the left-hand side is understanding. If someone's telling you something in confidence, and it is something that should remain confidential, of course, we do need to be professional and not share it with anybody that we shouldn't. But we need to be understanding as well. If someone's coming to you to tell you something, it's important that they feel heard and not judged. Yeah, you can then decide whether it's something that, maybe you do need to take it elsewhere or direct them to someone who can help them more than is within the realms of your job or your job role. Of course, we need to understand our own boundaries. If someone came to me and said, look, Rob, I think I've got this, this, and this, I might have a hunch, but it's not my job to diagnose somebody. I can't diagnose somebody. I can say, go to your doctor and get a diagnosis. As much as I may well have an idea what's going on, But yeah, we need to be understanding as well. They might be telling you something that's quite sensitive. They might be telling you something that, it's not necessarily comfortable for them to share. Then they need to feel understood and not judged. Okay, cool. So number 2 down, something that is expected towards your patients, and that is respect. Yeah, so that kind of goes in hand with being understanding, being professional. Of course, like I say, we need to be respectful as well. Respect people's backgrounds, and culture, and beliefs. We need to respect their rights as an individual as well, and I feel as though this could be said for, anybody in any job anywhere, really. Respect will go a long way, and same as organization should and would only make your job easier, really. Being respectful to people will certainly make them more cooperative and open to whatever it is that you've got to say, any ideas that you may have. But yeah, as much as anything, when it comes to this industry, of course, the aim is to keep people coming back, and that's not just to make money and generate income. People only make results and maintain results when they keep coming back. So, I feel as though sort of one of the worst outcomes you could really have as an instructor or as a gym member of staff would be to do something that means that somebody doesn't come back anymore. And feeling disrespected is, of course, one of the quickest ways to make sure that people stop coming, and ultimately, chances are they stop trying as well. So it goes a long way. It can make a really big difference. And even then, it might just be a little bit of politeness and good manners. Again, goes a long way. Number 4, being something towards people will help them from being worried when in your care. Being enthusiastic towards people. Yeah, number 4. So being enthusiastic towards people. Of course, it helps them realize that you are ideally pleased to see them, pleased to see that they have come back. It's motivational, of course, to be enthusiastic about somebody as well. But they also stop worrying quite so much about, should I be here? Am I a bit of a sore thumb? Do I stick out a little bit? Is this right for me? When you're just, trying to light fire and after fire underneath them and just get them going and get them believing in themselves a little bit. Enthusiasm goes a really long way and helps people feel more comfortable in an environment that they potentially might not, I guess. And number 5, something you will need to be able to work well with others is teamwork. Yeah, teamwork again goes a really long way. Some jobs, teamwork is more important than others. If you want to go and work in a restaurant, you're probably going to need pretty good teamwork. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise, and there's a lot of individuals who need to know their role within the team as well. Now, this is where that reflection comes in a little bit, because, you might be sitting there and thinking, well, I'm not really good at teamwork, maybe through lack of experience, maybe through, again, the last 2 years, we've been very socially isolated. Maybe the thought of going and working as part of a team makes you break out in a cold sweat because it might be pressure, Now, there are jobs out there that don't necessarily require the same amount of teamwork. Probably still some, but again, say you're a delivery driver that drives long distances. There's not as much teamwork on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, you kind of need someone to liaise with to find out what you're picking up and where from and where is it going. There might be somebody at the other end who helps do that stage of the journey as well. But there's much less teamwork involved in some jobs as well. So again, think about not just your suitability for the job, but the job's suitability for you. If you are a bit more of an introvert, don't like loud environments and a lot going on, reflect that. You might be able to explore jobs in like a library or something like that that's a bit quieter, so again, always think about how suitable the job is for you, and not just how suitable you are for the job as well. And yeah, teamwork, more important in some jobs than others, but always a helpful skill to be working at, I guess you could say. None of these are skills that everybody has nailed 100% of the time. They're exactly that. They're a skill. They need developing. They need sharpening. And that in itself acknowledges that it's not perfect to start with. Nobody is. We should all be paying mind to these qualities and these skills and trying to develop them when we have the opportunity and when the opportunity comes up. Number 6, the last one, then, this will help you get along with other people by being 6 down is polite. Again, so kind of linking in with respect again a little bit, but thinking more just about the not being disrespectful, but like I say, having those manners, please and thank you to your colleagues or your customers even. If somebody buys something and you say thank you, come back, or thank you, come again, they may well. If you chuck the receipt across the counter at them, they're probably not going to. So again, and that goes a long way in terms of working with our clients and working with our colleagues, and sometimes even just working with the public as well. Yeah, so those skills, again, they're not anything that I think we ever get to the point where we say, okay, job done. They're things that we should always be reflecting on, and like I say, trying to develop and improve when we can, really. Okay then, guys, cool. So the last real slide that we need to go through today is this one here that I've got on the screen in front of us at the minute. So different vocational areas, different job roles within different vocational areas, and we can see that they are asking for different skills, yeah, and different personal qualities. So again, when we are looking at, or when you are looking at the volunteer website, which we'll be doing next week, we'll see that posts will normally recommend some skills or some personal qualities that might make you suitable to the job, or not suitable, really. And that is where that, like I say, that reflection comes in, and you can be really sort of mindful of the roles that you're looking at, exploring, and hopefully ultimately applying for. So yeah, we can see that these different jobs require different skill sets. Really, you need a particular set of skills. Personal trainer skills, we're looking at emotional intelligence and empathy. Believe it or not, yeah. Need a little bit, try and gauge somebody's mood, their state. Where are they? How hard can you push them today? Need to put yourself in their shoes, to like a little bit of empathy, and try and think, okay, how would I be feeling in that case? They've just had some bad news about a family member, or they've just lost their job, or whatever it is. You need to reflect that in your interaction with that person as much as you can, really. Communication skills, again, and you will see that some of the same skills pop up in both jobs or multiple jobs. And they may be for the same reason, they might be for different reasons. Of course, with a personal trainer, communication skills, I need to be able to explain to you how to do this exercise safely with the right weight and coach you through it. Yeah. And probably even tell you why I've picked that exercise. Why are we doing this? Whereas a care worker, communication skills might be a little bit more laying out or explaining to somebody why they need you to accompany them to the toilet or something like that. Whatever it may well be, different reasons for these communication skills being important in different areas. Of course, I'll probably talk about personal training a little bit more because it's the one that I have the most experience with. I can certainly vouch and say that certainly everything on this list is pretty accurate. Being motivational. To be a personal trainer. Somebody says, within reason, if somebody's like, I did really well there, I feel really strong, can I'll put some extra weight on. And you don't want to be stood there going, I don't think you'll do it. You could say, look, your form was dipping a little bit on them last couple of reps. I don't advise that you go any heavier. That's more motivational. Or I might even say, look, let's get your next set, but then once you've hit your reps, we'll take some weight off and do some more, and then take some more weight off and do some more. That's motivation, feeding into somebody that you believe in them as well, as opposed to doing the opposite and sort of shooting it down. Technical knowledge, of course. How does the body work? Why do we do certain rep ranges for certain goals? How do I use this bit of kit in the gym? How do I use this heart rate monitor to check my blood pressure and stuff like that? Goes a long way. As does patience. Patience goes a long way as well, because there will always be a time where no matter how clear you've tried to outline something or coach somebody through a particular point, you're going to hit sticking points as well. The amount of times throughout one movement in the past I've said to people, flatten your back, push your chest out, flatten your back, stop your back from arching, and then still 30 seconds later, having been prompted several times to flatten their back's still like that. But they think it's flat, so how do you work around that as well? How do you teach them to learn and to know what the right position looks like? So yeah, there's definitely a lot of patience involved. Never mind, again, rolls in with empathy. How's your feel? Patience. How's your diet going this week? We're slowly getting there. Slowly, but we are getting there. It's like, I've had a bit of bad news this week or whatever. My job's been up in the air, so I've been comfort eating a little bit. At the end of the day, what are you going to do? You're going to stand there and chew that person out for having a hard time in their personal life? Or do you just need to exercise a little bit of patience, let them know the consequences of the situation, It's not necessarily their fault, but it will have consequences. Look, okay, I understand that you've needed to just cope this week, really, and just sort of get through this week. However, those extra calories that you've had, you have had. So this is what to expect, you know. And again, communication skills. If you can let somebody know in advance, look, we may well get you on the scales next week and you might have put weight on, you know, they have a bit of time to reflect on that and let it sink in, where it might change something next time. And then they get on the scales and they have put weight on, and it's no great surprise, you know, through patience and empathy and a little bit of communication skills, you've given them the heads up that that is probably going to be the case. Yeah. And then we have personal qualities. So professionalism, you know, how professional are you? Personable, adaptive. You know, adaptive is a big one when it comes to personal training. If you've got like a workout plan for your client to do, and you go to the gym floor, and the first 3 exercises that you're planning on doing are on machines and they're all being used, I mean, again, you need to adapt. You can't just stand there and say to your client, look, I know we were meant to start at 10, but, you know, got nothing to do for the next 20 minutes till these machines are free. You know, think of something else, you know. Can you get the same stimulus on the body in a different way? If you're meant to do bench press, can you do press ups? You know, if you're meant to do pull downs, can you do pull ups? There's all sorts of different ways that you can adapt. It's not always a like for like change, but sometimes you do just need to be adaptive. Someone might turn up and say, oh, you might have a really good workout written for somebody, but they might turn up and say, do you know what? I don't feel very well today. Oh, I've sprained my ankle on my way out of work. You've got to think on the spot, and you've got to change things around. So yeah, being adaptive, definitely, and being passionate as well. You know, I think certainly a lot of personal trainers these days are self-employed. You need to want to do it because you're going to be paying rent. You're obviously still going to have bills to pay at home. You've got to have the drive to get out there and do it. You know, being passionate, I think it comes through. Especially when it comes to some of your clients are hitting some obstacles and hitting some barriers. You know, are you passionate enough about their progress to help them push through, or do you just say, well, it's not my fault that you're ordering a pizza on a weekend. It's not my fault that you're comfort eating. You know, granted, we're not psychologists and we're not counselors. There is a lot of agony and goes on with a personal trainer. It really is. You know, even this last one here, good listener. You know, you've got to be able to take in what people are talking about everything else, because that's going to be factoring into their performance and their attitude and their mood. You know, are they complaining about like the commute to work this morning? Does that stress them out? Are they having relationship problems? Are they looking? Have they just booked a holiday that you might be able to use as a bit of motivation? You know, listening goes a long way. Then we have being a care worker, which is essentially what my mum does. So although I don't have any experience in it myself, you know, I see how the qualities that, you know, I don't have, or feel like I don't have, I see how they may help her, you know, like to an extent, stuff like this, highly observant, you know, like, oh, so and so seems a bit funny today. Have they had the meds? You know, so it's like something like that can save somebody's life. Do you know what I mean? Or like, I think so and so's like acting out a little bit today. Something's not right. You know, whereas with a personal trainer and being a personal trainer, you're not looking for stuff like that quite so much. You know, you might need to organize, plan, multi-process a little bit. You know, you might, of course, you're there to care, but you might have other jobs to do in terms of looking after the residents or maintaining the sort of residence in itself. As a personal trainer, if you're there to be a personal trainer, that's pretty much all you're there to be. You don't really need to multitask quite so much, you know. And I don't know whether it is just because I've done a lot of personal training, but I certainly see some of these personal qualities as well that could help, but they're not necessarily required, you know. You know, a sunny demeanor, you know, I thought always applied I try to apply it to myself and to give people that little bit of a lift, because I feel a sunny demeanor links in with being quite motivational. However, I've known really good personal trainers that don't have an ounce of that in them at all. You know, they just know what they're talking about. They're going to work you hard. And that is, of course, different instructors have different styles, but not all of them are going to have a sunny demeanor. I can promise you that. Same again, a little bit of sort of being willing to listen, bit of empathy, passion for helping others, keep a cool head and be patient as well. Yeah. And then again, coming up to skills again, stuff like thinking on your feet. Yeah, you may need to adapt a little bit as a personal trainer, but in care, there may be so much more that you need to sort of react to, I guess. So we can see how just those two different jobs or those different job roles would have different maybe it's not necessarily requirements, but different skills and qualities that they would be looking for. Yeah. So what we'll actually do, I know we're going to have a look at it next week as well, but we'll actually jump over to this website and have a look, so we can look at these job roles and the skills and qualities needed actually in action. So if I just stop sharing that and make everybody look at me full screen, unfortunately, for 2 minutes. This is the website that I've been talking about this morning. So we have got doit.life. Yeah. So it's doit.life, and I'll take you to where we are here. In fact, see if I can start again, and then we'll be on the home page together. Yeah. So assuming we can all see that. Cool. All right, guys. So this will be the home page that it's going to take you to. You can, of course, join or sign in if you've already used it before, on the chance that you have. And then from there, at the top, you just want to click Discover. So if you hit Discover at the top, it'll take you straight to here. Yeah, and we're going to start to see some of these positions that are available. Yeah. So you may well put your location in. You may well just click this and it can use your location straight away. Out of curiosity, I should know the postcode for the office, but I'm going to have a look just to be sure. So if I was to put this in there, okay, cool. And then we can pick our distance. Yeah, so if that was your address, we'll say within 20 miles. So we can see stuff that is available near this postcode that we've put in. Yeah. And we can start to see some of these positions that are out there. Yeah. And that's right now, that's real time, you know. So we could have a look and we could say, right, by rights, because it's there, find things to do. So if I was to type in garden. So we're starting to narrow the results down a little bit. We've said where we are. We've said how far we're willing to go. We've typed in, you know, a bit of a keyword that we're looking for. That top one must have been the only one really to do with gardening. But again, it'll list them by sort of how relevant they are as well. So let's have a look then. Just have a look at this one, see if this gives us any of that information that we might be looking for. So community garden support volunteer. So we can see the locations where it's going to be at, the date and the time that it's running, So it looks as though May last year to December this year, 11 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. So again, think about does the time suit you? There's 10 places available. Then we can scroll down. It says about this volunteering opportunity. So it'll tell you a little bit more about what it is that you'll be doing. So we're looking for volunteers who love being outdoors, growing, tending, building, or sharing time with others. Produce is shared within the community, and recycling, reusing, and the environment are all key to our way of growing. Really cool. We love sharing ideas and making them happen. We welcome volunteers who like to work with a group or who want to spend time on their own with regular commitments or one-offs. So you can go along and just do it the once if you wanted to. What are they looking for? Any age, any ability, or any skill level. We do our best to welcome and value everyone, including people with disability, mental health issues, reduced mobility, or learning disabilities. All relevant skills are valued, but skills are not essential as we are available for all, including those who like to learn, share, or make the most of our garden spaces to relax, improve mental health, or get a little bit of gentle exercise. Yeah, so that tells you what they're looking for. It says practical considerations. Our gardens and building are fully accessible in all areas. Refreshments are provided at all times. Necessary tools and PPE are provided. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are preferred days, but other times are also available when volunteers are free. Yeah, so it tells you sort of the days that they need the most help, but it also says, you know, we have other spaces as well based on when you're free and when you're available. So we've got a map, we can see where it is. We can see where we would be. And we can actually look at activities that we're going to be, that are kind of linked into what it is that we're doing. And then a little bit of some of the skills that you might gain while you're there as well. So talking to others, listening, teamwork, carpentry. So when we've sat and done our strengths and weaknesses, you may well be thinking to yourself, you know, that's a bit of a weakness, but I'd like it not to be. I'd like to improve that. You know, start exploring some of these other positions that might actually, in the short term, help you develop those skills. So there's a little bit of about the group at the bottom. Yeah. But yeah, nothing really in there where it says, you know, it looks really sort of welcoming to nigh on anybody that wants to go along and get involved, which is really cool. And really inclusive, which is what we like to see. So let's see if we can find one that's not so much. Let's have a look. Training dog fosterer. How does this work? So the opportunity is with guide dogs. Chesley Street. So again, can you get there? Can you not? So it looks as though it was running for a year, October last year to October this year. 3 places available. About this volunteering opportunity. We rely on volunteers like you to help us improve the lives of people with sight loss. In this role, your support will include flexibility on collection and drop-off times of the dog by the guide dog mobility specialist from your home. 2, having the dog at home every evenings, at weekends, and occasionally during the day. 3, having an enclosed garden or yard with a hard area for the dog to do its business. Having permission from a landlord to have a dog in the house if you live in rented accommodation, something to think about as well. Being willing to support a dog that potentially has additional training needs. Yeah. So Guide Dogs Newcastle are looking for dedicated and passionate people to provide a temporary home for one of our amazing dogs in training. I'm going to have to be careful I don't end up with another dog here. Right, okay, so practical considerations. So no need to worry about the cost of food and vet bills, as Guide Dogs covers all expenses. Your local guide dog mobility specialist will also be on hand to answer any questions you might have relating to your dog's training or care, as well as a dog health and wellbeing team who will be able to give advice on your dog's health. Yeah, and then it especially says having access to a car is not essential for this role. Yes, you don't necessarily need to be able to drive. Requirements will require references, must live or work locally. Yeah. So it's under fostering. And then some of these outcomes, because you're working with the people that need the dogs and not just the dog, of course, you're looking at working on communication, working with the elderly, working with families, potentially younger people, even people from different faiths, race, ethnicity, you know, potentially refugees, immigrants, meeting new people, probably better fitness for yourself as well. You know, it might actually help you, give you an incentive to get out for a bit of exercise if you've got the dog to walk, like even a sense of purpose, sense of achievement, all of the above, really. And then again, if you want to see where they are, Guide Dogs Newcastle, I imagine there'll be a Zoom. Yeah, so if you want to have a Zoom and get a really good look at where it is you'd be needing to go, got to be up here somewhere. Didn't realise I've come so far in. Newcastle. There we go. So there they are, Chesley Street. You can get an idea where they would be. So again, that one there did have some requirements in the terms of you would need references and stuff like that, and you need to live locally. Some jobs don't have requirements at all. We'll have a look at one more just while we're on, and then we'll really get stuck into this next week and look at the different filters and stuff like that that we can use. So let's go back to this. So let's have a say. Local press and media coordinator. That sounds a bit more, potentially a little bit more technical, and likely because I've never worked in that vocation. So, locations. Different locations, but it also says do it from home as well. So maybe that's something that's important to you, you know, being able to work from home for other responsibilities or for whatever reason. Again, we can see when it's running, how many places are available. So, about this volunteering opportunity, couple of questions. Do you enjoy creative writing? Have you got an eye for a striking photo? Would you like to get involved in campaigning on global issues in your local area? Yeah, so it tells you a little bit about the position, what they are looking for. Yeah, so it says, sending out press releases, writing letters to the editors of the paper, taking photos, building relationships with journalists. You'll need to be up for getting involved with the local group, including going to monthly meetings and taking part in campaign activities. Getting local press coverage means that more people read about our campaigns and know that there's a local Greenpeace group near them. It allows us to reach MPs and other decision makers. Let's have a look. That's more about what they're looking for. You will usually be asked to do 1 or 2 media activities a month, which will usually take 4 to 6 hours a month. Practical considerations. We are looking for local press and media coordinators to join our groups in these places. Travel and other reasonable degree expenses covered. Covers training, staff and peer support. Requirements: must live or work locally, own computer or secure access to one. So that's one that we haven't come across before. So we can see already how these are going to change and they're going to differ from role to role. Like I say, in the name of just getting used to the website and exploring these different job roles, you know, maybe don't worry about the location of where it is and just, you know, just type in and wonder if we get anything for sports. There we go. If you like sports, maybe you just like to know a little bit more about different job roles within the sport area. Like I say, it doesn't matter whether it's local or not, because we're just using it to sort of fill in the blanks a little bit or explore the vocation a little bit. So again, so again, it tells you what the job would, what it entails, what are they looking for. So again, listen to and communicate with individuals who have a disability so they're able to take in sports or exercise activity. Yeah, so again, gives you an idea who you'll be working with, and what sort of skills and qualities might be helpful. So there we go, guys. It is doit.life. In fact, I'm just going to come back to the chat 2 minutes, and I'm going to pop that in there just in case you do just want to click it from there and go and have a look. Where's my keyboard? Oh, morning, guys. I haven't had an eye on my phone there while I've been going through that, buddy. I'm glad you managed to make it in this morning. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing good, man. Right, so yeah, that is the doit.life website. So you can just copy and paste that from the chat if you wanted to, stick it in the old address bar, and away you go and just explore some of these different areas. You know, like I say, you might like to just have a little bit of a play around. Can you type in computers and see if anything comes up? There you go. Internet support, IT tutors, tech buddy, whatever it may well be, repairing stuff, you know. So again, if that's up your street, and you like that sort of thing, why not? You know, why not jump on and have a little bit of a look, and start exploring some of these just different vocations. So that is the website, guys. Like I say, we'll be back to that next week to have a proper look through and start to come to grips with some of the filters and stuff like that we can use to really narrow down what it is we're looking for and some of the outcomes that we'd like to get. As I promised, we'll have just a few minutes to get a look at this week's workbook that we're going to need. So of course we're looking at participating in vocational tasters. So just looking in this unit, like we've talked about, we're going to be looking at different areas, using relevant skills, knowledge, personal qualities, understanding health and safety requirements, of course, based on the area, and reflect on the suitability for the job role. So for the sake of this week, all we are going to be doing, and I'm just going to double check, pages 2, 3, and 4 in this workbook. Yeah, so this is page 2. So what you're going to do, for 3 different vocational areas, describe 2 job roles, yeah, in each. Yeah, so health and fitness, 2 job roles within the health and fitness area. Yeah, then move on, engineering and manufacturing, whatever it may well be. So there's 2 vocational areas, but see if you can get a third and name a couple of jobs within that area. Yeah. Okay, cool. So next page 3. Assess the skills, knowledge, and personal qualities to perform one of the job roles from each of the 3 areas. So, for example, if for this one you've put vocational area, health and well-being, personal trainer, yeah. On page 3, if you choose to go with personal trainer, you might have gone with gym manager. Go with either of the 2, and then try and just fill in a little bit more about the skills, the knowledge, and the personal qualities that are required for that job. Yeah. So consider using the website that we've just been looking at to explore these areas and get an idea for what skills and qualities and knowledge they do actually ask for. And then page 4. Page 4. So cool. We'll be doing this next week. The work experience from the different vocational areas. We'll look at that next week when we're looking at the website. In the meantime, just think about and reflect on your own skills and qualities and knowledge as well. You know, what you feel good at, what you feel not so good at, what's a strength, what's a weakness. You know, what, if you saw it come up on a job application, would make you just want to run the other way. You know, it might be public speaking in front of other people and stuff like that. That might be something that you don't feel very confident in. You know, you may want to take on a role that's going to help you improve that. You may, like I say, want to run a million miles in the other direction. So have a little bit of a think about what you feel as a strength, as a weakness, maybe some stuff that you'd like to look at, maybe some stuff that you'd like to stay away from. But do try and keep a little bit of an open mind as well, because like I say, you might be thinking, well, hairdressing, there's nothing in hairdressing that applies to me or that appeals to me. But then it might be, oh, do you know what? Like doing actually some of the dyeing and stuff like that, and being like a color technician could be really interesting, you know? So it might just be, or again, it might be barbering. You know, I've got no fancy for standing there and doing like women's hair and putting them in rolls and doing perms and stuff like that. But a couple of times I've considered doing like a barbering course or something like that. It's just another skill, isn't it? You know, so just because 99% of the jobs in that vocational area might not appeal to you, there might be one that does. So yeah, do try and keep a bit of an open mind, guys, as well. Okay, cool. So that was everything that we needed to run through today. I hope you've enjoyed the first session. I know it's been a bit of an overview, and I know we haven't been massively health and well-being focused this morning, but of course we are looking to just blend these two things and looking at skills that are going to help with employment, as well as our personal fitness and well-being as well, which will come in over time, and we'll just keep on building on that, guys. So I'm just going to share this like I always will. I always make sure that anything that you might need to come back and recap is just nice and easy on the last slide. So if you do need to click on the session to come back and double check, for example, what pages of my workbook should I be doing this week? You don't need to sit through the full 2-hour video. You can just come to this last slide and say, right, okay, pages 2, 3, and 4. So have a little bit of a dabble with the, right, I'm going to change that now while I remember, because it keeps throwing us off. Right. Come on. There we go. Right, I'm going to change this now while I remember, because it has definitely changed. Do-it.life. There we go. So getting used to the do-it.life website, and just have, like I say, a little bit of an explore, a bit of practice. Complete pages 2, 3, and 4 of your participating in vocational tasters workbook. Coming back to the description box under the video, sorry. Don't forget the survey to just follow that link, fill in the answers, and it'll come straight back to us. It helps us fill in some important paperwork on your behalf, and at the same time, your feedback's always important to us, guys. And we will, of course, be back next Monday to do another session. It'll be sort of 10 o'clock to 12-ish, and then there's time for you to do the fitness video afterwards as well. So yeah, that as well. Yeah, don't forget to check out the fitness video. It's linked right next to the survey in the description box as well. So you can have go to our YouTube playlist, either try the video that is linked or have an explore through the others and see if there's any that sort of matches your mood and your energy level and your motivation for the day. And of course, by all means, if you need to get in touch with me in the meantime, or just let me know how you're getting on with those workouts. Like I say, today is just a nice little stretch. I'm aware that if this is your first course that you're doing with us, you know, it might not be, but you know, like I say, we've been restrictions and lockdown for, you know, for 18 months solid, really. So it may well be the first time we're starting to get active again. So a nice little stretch can do everybody some wonders, really. So yeah, just a nice stretching one for today. If you do that and tomorrow you want to go and try a different video, then by all means do. You don't have to just do one a week. You can do as many as you want. You know, you could pick, 9? You could pick 3, do 3 a week. After the 3rd week, you've done all 9, recycle it, go again. And see, I'll give myself hiccups, and see how, maybe even see how much I've improved from last time you did that circuit or that workout. Does it feel any easier? Do certain areas feel stronger or whatever? So yeah, definitely check out the fitness video. Thank you for logging in this morning. Whether enrolled or not, you know, I'm always happy to say anybody pop along and say hello in the chat. Guys, I'm glad you managed to make it in, buddy. Hope you've had a good weekend. We'll probably catch you in the drop-ins this Friday. if not before. Like I say, give me a shout if you do need us before. And yeah, everybody else, just to give you a heads up, we do have the drop-in sessions on a Friday morning where we get together as a small group and talk about all things health and fitness, really, different recipes, organizing our day to make sure we can get more time in, ways to get active and keep fit without necessarily using the gym and stuff like that. So again, by all means, if you want any more info on that, do drop me an email, guys. Until then, I'll let you get on with the rest of your day and the rest of your week. I hope the weather stays dry for a start, but no, I hope everybody has a good week. Take care of yourself and look after those around you. Like I say, we'll be back next week. Get in touch with me if you need me in the meantime. Don't forget the survey, check out the fitness video, and we'll be back next week to keep the ball rolling and just keep exploring these areas even further and just keep working on those skills. And then before you know it, guys, we'll be designing circuit cards and we'll be looking at fitness equipment and all sorts. So we've got all sorts to do over the next 9 weeks. Like I say, it's taking us nicely into summer. So that's sort of nose to the grindstone, so they say, really. But yeah, guys, you know where I'm at in the meantime. Either drop me an email or reach out to one of the guys in the office and they'll get in touch with us or put me in touch with you or whatever. Thank you, as always, for spending your time with us, and thank you for learning the media savvy. Until next week, guys, take care, and I'll see everybody next Monday.